We recognize this time of year as a time to be outdoors planting our garden and working in the orchard and landscape, but it's also a great time to help rejuvenate some of those indoor plants that you might have that are suffering from the long winter doldrums. And that's what we're going to talk to you about today, is repotting plants and how to take care of them a little bit and bring them outside. The first thing that you're going to need to do, of course, is check to see if it needs repotting. It may be root bound, it may be stunted, or in the case of this African violet, you may have two different plants growing out of the same pot and you need to separate them. But when you're deciding on what to do with your plants, don't forget a very important point, and that is the appropriate soil mix. Now, we've talked about soilless mixes where they drain well and those that are sterilized, but let me just show you a couple of examples of some things that you can purchase at the garden centers or horticulture stores. This is a soil mix that is considered a light mix, and I just want you to see that there. It really is pretty heavy. It holds a lot of water, and depending upon the type of plant, such as an African violet or a cactus, that really would be too heavy. Now, you've seen a lighter mix that we've used here in some of our container gardening, and I want to just show you the comparison. This one has a lot of the peat moss in it again, and perlite and vermiculite, and look at the difference in those. One is going to drain really well and sometimes too well for the particular plant that we're going to use. So really, if you get in a bind like that and you purchase a bag and it looks too heavy, the best thing is to mix it up. And that's what we've done in here, is mix up those two particular ones, and really it has given us a very nice blend, well drained, and is going to hold a lot of moisture for us. So soil is very crucial because that's the only time that you can adjust it or adapt it when you're repotting. And let me show you how to do that here with our African violet. Now, a lot of people are afraid to start something like this. They don't know what to do, and really we're not sure what to expect either. But the main thing that you want to do is try to loosen the soil a little bit. And sure, it's going to loosen the root ball too. And you want to try to keep from damaging the leaves, but you're going to have to tap it so to gently pull out. And again, we don't know what to expect, how big the root system is going to be. Now, once we've got it there, a lot of times our soil will be real old, and it's a good thing to do to scrape some of that around, but we really don't have that great of a root system on here. And again, it's not going to hurt to pull some of this away, and we may be able just to separate them by hand, but I've got a knife here just in case. And we may break a few leaves because of the way that they're woven in between each other. Now, we have really lost a lot of soil, but that's okay. We're going to be able to pull them out. There's still a good base or foundation of root system there. And we've already got one container ready, and you make a little bit of planting hole. Now, if your root system was really root bound, you'd want to loosen that up, maybe slice it with a knife or prune it a little bit. In this case, we don't really need to do that. So we'll just place that down in there. You want to plant it again about the same level, and pack the soil in from the outside around it where it's real sturdy and will hold it up. And then you'll want a little bit of room for water to stand at the top while you're watering it and that kind of thing. Now, before we put the other one in this container, we need to be sure and scrub that out and use a 10% solution of Clorox or just hot soapy water, and then rinse the soap out before we repot. And we're going to move on to another thing, but remember, depending on the type of plant you use, the sun can be really harmful. So when you bring them outside, you've got to be careful. And really, African violets don't like direct sun. So while we finish off here, I'm going to set these underneath the table to protect them. Now, we talked recently about polymers on the show. Polymers by themselves, and remember, they absorb a lot of water, and they're good to mix with soils to help hold moisture against the root system. Well, here's a product called Easy Soil. And it looks like a peat pellet, similar to what we've seen before, but it's got polymers mixed with an organic material. And once you add water, it will absorb, and it actually becomes your soil, or that's the statement on the label, that you can actually plant or repot directly in it. And 1 cube, it depends on the size of container, but again, that's the Easy Soil, and it's the polymer mixed with the compost. Now, how we've found this product to be pretty handy is by using it and taking cuttings. And that's what we've done with our airleaf plant. And I just want to show you, we took a cutting, it didn't have any roots on it, and the top of that looks pretty dry. So you're going to need to stick your hand in there and see if it's still holding a lot of water, which it is. But we're going to tap that out just to show you what kind of a root system we've got for the cutting. And remember, it didn't have any roots on it when we started, and we stuck it in with the easy soil, and look at that, we've got a pretty good amount of roots. So it's really kind of the best of both worlds. It has a little bit of organic matter, it holds a lot of moisture to really get that cutting taken off, and I think that's a great way to use this type of product. Well, whatever you do, remember to be careful on bringing those plants outside again, but don't forget, this is a time to try to rejuvenate those houseplants as well.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.